the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.
Do you want to tell the audience what they missed, or do you want to leave that a mystery as well?
I think we should leave that as a mystery. I think that look, Veronica came through with A+ material.
A+.
And it's gone. It's gone. It's gone for.
You know what it's not. You know
no
where
one
it's,
in the Smithsonian will ever hear it.
You know where it's not gone?
Where's not?
From our memories and our hearts.
My heart is full.
My heart is full.
I'll have you know, Ronnie, my heart is full.
My mind is full.
That was brilliant.
My bowels are full. I'm just kidding.
You know, funny you should say that. My bowels are not full. But that was not without effort.
Evacuation complete.
Evacuation complete. Evacuation complete.
No,
it was complicated. I don't, without getting into too much detail, because I know that you don't love the detail.
Okay. This is biofriendly, and that's bio.
It's definitely biomass. I before the show.
Yes, no.
I thought it would be important to take a pregame dump.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to make sure that everything was ready to go. I didn't want to be distracted. I didn't want to have anything that was affecting my ability to deliver top quality content.
Yeah, you wanted to take your trash can and take it to the dump.
Yep.
Okay.
Clean it out. Mm-hmm. So on our floor.
Yeah.
There's only like us and one other tenant now. Two other tenants on the floor. There's two other tenants on the floor, because our floor is emptying out. There's just it's a little recycling of people, right?
Yes.
This is how it goes sometimes in the
office world.
In the office game.
In the game, the game of the office.
In the office game, sometimes you have a rotation of who's staying where and who's doing what. Mm-hmm. So right now there's rotation out, and then there will be rotation in later eventually. Right now there's rotation out. So it's only us and two other tenants. So you'd figure in that situation, probably plenty of bathroom times. Probably no worries.
There wouldn't be an issue.
No worries.
You're not
getting
competing
yourself
against all these people
onto a bowl.
Right.
So that was false. That was a false
This
statement.
isn't true.
This is not true in this case.
My God.
There are two stalls, and not only was one of them, because I thought, if there's one's full, then I'm just going to have a neighbor. That'll be great. That'll be fine. No
morning, neighbor.
No, morning, neighbor.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't even do that.
Couldn't do that?
No, they were already neighbors taking over the airways.
Oh my gosh! Did you squat on the urinal again?
Yeah. Well, so you see, our sink over there is going to have. I hope that sink rating. No, guys, come on, that's disgusting.
We're just kidding.
No, okay. So then I learned this tip. Okay, if the bathrooms are full.
Yeah.
Fernando said 6th floor.
6th floor is the secret floor.
6th floor is the secret floor. I went to the 6th floor. Nobody's on the 6th floor.
Right.
Great news. Yes. 6th floor, this is great.
Yeah.
Well, someone else knows about that trick. Not because there was someone in there, but because there are two bowls, both are out of order.
Oh, no.
Due to cloggage.
Cloggage.
Yeah, now that's odd. Don't you think that's odd?
It is odd.
Because you'd think that someone like engineering or something would
totally.
do
You gotta
something
check
to
out the
fix
floors.
the toilets.
Right.
But I think because there's nobody on that floor, because like I said, rotation. There's a rotation happening in the building game.
Yeah, in the building game.
There's nobody fixing that. They don't care.
That's
They're
terrible.
like, there's nobody using that thing. We're gonna put plastic over what's there.
This sounds like a bad idea in the long run. I feel like in 1 week, the 6th floor is going to have hazmat suits and plastic.
You go into that bathroom and I don't want to say it's an overwhelming waft.
Okay.
But it's not great. And then there's nothing been done to do anything about it. There's just two bowls that have plastic covering them, which essentially to tell you don't go here. The thing that's funny about that is the thought that they have to put the plastic down because maybe people have been just putting more on top.
Yeah.
Because somehow there's not enough bathrooms for the few tenants remaining in our building during this rotation, the natural rotation in the game.
The office game?
The office game.
Well, Overwhelming Waft is playing this weekend, by the way.
They are. So I thought, okay, fine. I'm going to go to the common 2nd floor.
Of course.
Because
that's the backup to the backup plan.
Yeah. Now, normally I would have said I give up. I'm going to do the show. I'm just going to do the show and we're going to live with it.
Yeah,
but actually, there was a need. There was a need
for
to get things handled.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So I went downstairs to the 2nd floor.
Uh-huh.
And then I opened the 2nd floor, and then I hear immediately the screech of shoes of uncomfortable people who found out the door just opened to the thing. And I go in there, and those two bathrooms.
This is ridiculous.
Are both full.
Did you walk to the grocery store at this point?
I could not believe my ears, my nose, my eyes,
your entire being. You were done.
I was like, I cannot find a place to take a dump.
To take your garbage from your office and throw it into a waste bin.
Yes. I could not find a waste bin anywhere.
Yes.
So I come back upstairs, exasperated.
Exasperated, of course.
I'm exasperated.
This is the hardest level of the office game.
This is the hardest level of the office game. Exasperation. I was exasperated. I was frustrated. I was uncomfortable. And I didn't know what to do.
I wouldn't know what to do.
Part of me thought I'll just end
live with this. This is your life now.
I'm gonna jump out
don't do
the
that.
nearest window.
No.
And just end it because why am I even bothering with all this? Which I think is a natural reaction.
That's a choice in the office game. It is a choice. It means the game over, but you know.
Yeah, no. So I go back upstairs.
Yeah.
And I go, well, it's been a minute since I was up here. Maybe things have gotten better. I open my door.
Yeah.
And to our bathroom on this floor, and I go in, and there's still somebody in there. But I'm like, well, maybe one of them's maybe do this neighbor thing we talked about.
Right.
Thankfully,
the neighbor's open.
The smaller of the two toilets was available.
It's so small.
So I sat down there.
It's like 1 foot off the ground.
It's tiny. It's made for gnomes. It's made for gnomes. But it had all the correct functional activity. And I got to be honest, I generally try to be polite and like as dainty and quiet as I can be when I've got a neighbor.
Dainty is definitely a word that I use when I think of Noel.
Yeah, I'm a dainty
fellow.
I'm a dainty guy.
Yes.
But in this case, and again, this is, I apologize if this is too much information, but I think the listeners deserve to know what happened. Because of the combination of, the clock was ticking.
Yes.
And I was just pissed.
Of course.
I was not dainty.
You were not dainty. You said, I've got no time for nonsense.
I actually doubled down on loudness. I was like, we're going to do everything we can to be as uncomfortable. And now I feel a little bad about it because the person next to me, what are they? They just
we had to clear out the floor at some point in time. Yeah. We needed to just be our office, and you did that today.
I don't understand how there's nobody in the building and yet the bathrooms are all full.
I don't know. But I want you to know.
Do people just come here to go to the bathroom?
I think so. And I want you to know how much in agony I am during this whole descriptive conversation.
It's not your favorite.
It's not my favorite subject. It's not.
But I'm proud. You were brave enough to just sit here and enjoy it and take it in stride.
All the blood is rushed out of my head, and I'm going to pass out any minute.
Well,
thanks for joining us in the Biofriendly podcast.
Jacob is dead. So that's my pregame story.
That was a good pregame story.
On the bright side, everything's been handled. All is good. That the person did take the hint after all of the noises and got up and left.
Yeah.
Hopefully in frustration and anger himself. Like, how could somebody be so rude?
Right.
Because I was being rude.
Hopefully. He left in a huff.
A huff.
A huff. Sometimes you leave in a huff. You go,
yeah.
Huff. Huff. It's a great word to describe exactly the feeling. I'm leaving in a huff. 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 It's kind of the most dog humans get.
Yeah.
Humans get. Sorry, that was badly said. Are we actually recording on the iPad?
Yes.
Okay.
That's all on the show.
Yeah. No, we're going to air all that.
Yeah,
we need them to know that we are relatable hosts, and sometimes
and that this happens.
In the office,
I don't know if that's a good opener for the show or not.
That's great.
It's not that funny, but it's intriguing. I think.
I don't think humor was the important part.
No.
I think it was. I think this is a part of the show where people go, "I've been there. I've been there. I've been there." This is where somebody writes a comment on iTunes. They say the podcast is entertaining, funny, and relatable. And they do a little
side. A little sideways mouth twist.
Veronica, you look like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was going
Did
to
you quit? Are you done?
Are you done? Is this your resignation?
After that story, I'd like to turn in my resignation.
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Any minute, though.
I'm going to give you a tip.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Had I known this before, I could have saved myself a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Go into the women's room.
Yes. Go to the third floor. No one knows about the third floor.
No one. Yeah, but I don't believe you. You want to know why?
Because nobody knew about the sixth floor.
Nobody knew about the sixth floor, and nobody knew about that. You know what I mean? We get told these floors, but eventually
now you have more options.
Oh, that's true.
You went to the second floor and you came back up, but instead of coming back up, you could have gone to the third floor.
But this office, I think that what happens is people come into the parking lot. They all park on the first floor.
Yeah.
To take all the good parking.
Of course.
Whoever's here, right? So the good parking's gone, and then they just go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And they sit sit there all day.
Yeah.
They sit there all day in the bathroom, and then they go home.
Yeah.
You guys have a bright side, though.
What's
men
the bright
do?
More into the microphone. It's a little to the side
because all the men's restrooms are open. They're unlocked. All the women's are locked.
Yeah.
They have a key.
Well, if this restroom here on our floor, they're all full.
Yeah.
We can't go anywhere. We have to hold it. We can't go to the sixth. We can't go to the second. Wow. They're all locked.
That's terrible.
But me, I tell the security guard, hey, open up this door, man, because I need to go.
Remember,
You've got the hack. You've
I
got
got the
remember,
hack.
you have to befriend the person with the keys in the office
Yes.
game.
Look.
That's early on in
We
the
did
level.
that. I found out about the sixth floor hack because of
Oh
that.
yeah, you gotta.
Yeah.
If you are an expert at the office game, literally within the first few minutes of playing, befriend the person with the building keys. Strategy numero uno.
Numero uno.
Numero uno.
Yeah. I think it's for good reason. I know that's awful. It's difficult, but it's for good reason. Because if you've ever been in a men's bathroom, you'd realize why.
That's true.
You
I've seen that.
you can't let men in your women's bathroom. It's going to ruin everything.
Yeah,
you've got a
ruin
good
everything.
thing. You got a good thing going there.
You got a good thing going.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this has been the best potty chat we've ever had on the podcast, I think.
So we've been your beacon of light in
yeah,
the gloomy environment.
hopefully you learned a lot today. No, we're going to get into it because that was bathroom shenanigans, but we're going to dive in.
Bathroom shenanigans.
Yep. Okay. You ready for the first
I'm
story?
not.
You're not ready?
What? No,
you're not ready. You
yes.
should be ready.
Well, I wonder if I should just go to the bathroom real quick just to make sure. Go ahead.
The headline says, "Liberate the tractors." The
please.
movement that's regaining control of our devices. Remember how a couple weeks ago we did a show and I read the Internet of Things and I was like, I don't know if that's bad English. And you were like, no, that's a term.
Yeah.
You were 100% right.
Yay.
Internet of Things is what I know we had Veronica look it up on the show and we were like, this is a thing. So I'm seeing it more and more now. And obviously you would see it more and more now because more and more things are a smart device, a device we can communicate to. Right. Like Bill Burr just recently on his latest comedy special made a joke about his coffee machine in his kitchen and how he just wanted a cup of coffee, but he had to pair it to his phone. And he was just like, I just want a he was like screaming at the coffee maker. And this is the problem that we're having, right? It's like everything is now like an internet device. It's a smart device. It's paired. You can tell it all your preferences. And sometimes you go, I just want to be able to use the thing.
If I had a washing machine from the 1950s, it would wash my clothes.
You just washes your clothes. Yeah.
It won't break. It'll never get break. It's never going to break.
And you don't have to say, you don't have to go to the washing machine, pair it with your phone, and it says, like, what mood are you in today? We're going to do your spin cycle to Enya.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, I don't need to do my spin cycle to Enya.
Yeah, well, they track your walking and where you went and what areas you're in so they can
your
wash
laundry's done.
The correct cycle.
Yes.
In order to make sure they've washed off what they want to be gone.
Where did you go? Dave and Buster's?
Well, that's a deep clean cycle
it's a deep
then.
clean. You probably got some Dijon mustard and pretzel in your pants.
Eesh. A lot of throw up on the ground there.
Sorry, Dave and Buster's. I frequent your place, but sometimes people rage at Dave and Buster's.
I actually love Dave and Buster's. I think it's a really fun place, but you've got the early morning crowd, which is the families and the kids. Yeah. And they run around pissing and barfing and everything.
Of course, everywhere. It's literally like a sprinkler system as you run through. And
worth it.
There's so many electronics here.
Worth it.
Right.
So much fun.
Yeah.
And then they leave and you think, oh, it's okay, the adults are here. But it's not the adults. No. It's the party crew.
It's the party crew.
And they're coming in to just rage. And then there's vomit from
Yeah. There's Dave and then there's Buster!
and off they go. So that's the only issue I have. But so you have to have a deep clean cycle.
You have a deep clean cycle. But to the point.
I do enjoy my time there and I recommend it. I think
recommend it too.
It's worth all the I spilled my water.
You're going to have to pair that with your phone.
Yeah,
and
otherwise it
won't
can't clean. Yeah.
So the tractors, what's going on right now? Are we getting the universal sign for let's wipe it up?
Yeah, let's wipe it up. Because Ronnie's going to be worried about it.
She's going to be worried about it.
I don't want her to be distracted.
So I'll dig into it while she's distracted.
Okay, yeah.
So the successful hacking of a smart tractor marks the latest victory and the right to repair movement. So apparently John Deere has been making these tractors for these farmers and they're run by computers. And the problem was these farmers were like, I need to do repairs. I need to tell my tractor exactly what I need and what it is that needs to get done, but I can't access it. We've seen this problem before. We literally just talked about it yesterday on the way out of here about Mac versus PC, about the ability to get into your device.
Right. Well, and the whole Steve Jobs theory on computing was don't let them touch it. Don't let them anywhere near it. You don't want the average person to have to do anything with it. It should just work. It should do everything they want it to do intuitively. It should do it without trying, and that's it. And
that's a recipe for Terminator.
Right. Well, I think,
know what I mean?
I think you're right. I agree with you. But I think that the concept, just to defend it, because I got to play devil's advocate, you know me.
Oh, you're going to play devil's advocate a ton on this because I have a counter to the counter to the counter.
I love it.
Yeah,
so
you're going to love
much.
this.
Please to you,
don't.
I should have given it, but instead I threw it out into space.
Our intern will get it.
We've got an intern. All right. So, if another thing spills, Veronica's just going to kill me because I just threw perfectly good napkins over the side like some kind of animal. Some kind of Dave and Buster's.
You are such a Buster right now. Can you be a little bit more
Buster.
Dave?
Can be a bit more of a Dave, less of a
Be
Buster.
a little Dave on today's podcast,
you're right.
please.
You're right. Okay, no. So, what I was going to say is to play devil's advocate. I think that the idea is that not everybody's going to be a person who can repair a tractor. Not everybody's going to be a person who can repair a computer or want to dig under the hood and actually fix it. Most people just want it to work until it doesn't work anymore and then get a new one. That's kind of your average
bear.
Joe, right? Your average bear. And I think that Apple kind of tapped into that and have been very successful because of it.
Sure.
Whereas I think the PC side of it, the Microsoft idea was more of the people who were like the person in the shop.
Yeah.
They took shop class, or like in the auto body shop.
Yeah, lift up that hood.
Yeah, It's like let's get in there and let's customize this thing. Let's see how freaking powerful and awesome we can make this thing and what we can do, and you really understand it and you can really drive it.
Yeah.
So I can see how this is a problem in farming because typically
Guys in farming.
Yeah, typically
gals and guys of all
absolutely.
types. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's gals and guys for sure.
Get their hands dirty.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the whole. That's kind of the fun of it, right? It's
Yeah.
like I'm gonna work in my land. I'm gonna use my tools. I'm gonna get out there and get after it, right? And I think that's part of the fun of doing it. I think it's part of how they make it work. And if you take that away, I could see how that would backfire.
Exactly. Yeah. So it says the software that runs John Deere tractors was successfully jailbroken. Jailbroken is a term that they use when a hacker can break into a protected piece of software at this year's DEF CON hacker convention.
Don't they also do that for for if people want to customize their phones, right?
Yes.
So like there's jailbreak software, or ways
Jailbreak software, yeah.
to break into your own phone. So you can
yeah.
you can customize your own phone in ways that it's not supposed to be customized.
Yeah,
right?
I remember in the early days of the iPhone, I actually sought to jailbreak my phone because there were things that were like, if you jailbreak it, you can do all these cool things. Right. And I did successfully jailbreak one.
And then you got hacked.
And then I panicked because like a software update came out. And it was like, if your phone's jailbroken and you do the software, it's a brick. And so I just was like, I panicked. So I undid like everything I possibly could do to get me back to where I was before the jailbreak. And I undid
if you jailbreak it, you now are
avoided the warranty.
now under the hood.
Yes.
You're now responsible for your own device.
Yeah. So I was like, I'm not ready for this.
Yeah.
Where sometimes y'all ready for this?
Yeah. The farmer wants the jailbreak.
Yeah.
Because the farmer doesn't really want the updates. The farmer wants to update it himself.
Yeah. So the hacker involved, who calls himself Sick Codes, was responding directly to U.S. farmers' long-standing concerns that their smart tractors are run on software that only John Deere can access to repair. Smart tractors, including those manufactured by John Deere, also widely used in the UK. Yeah. So this was where this began with this whole the right to repair movement. Right. There's a whole thing right now. Mm-hmm. And just as a fun side piece, by the way, at this same DEF CON, they were able to get the John Deere's tractor to run Doom.
Oh, that's outstanding.
That's kind of an ongoing thing amongst like the hacker and gaming community. It's like getting to run the video game Doom on as many devices where it would be unusual. A refrigerator, get it to run Doom. A tractor, get it to run Doom. They successfully got Doom to run on the tractor. So I just thought that was really funny. And that was, once again, Sick Codes.
It is a really interesting time where you've got these I mean, they're I guess they're not all kids now because some of them have grown up and they're still at it, right?
Yeah.
But you consider them to be kids a lot.
Yeah.
Who don't want to agree with the way that we're running our software or the way that we're doing things, and they make groups of like hacker teams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they go in and they mess with stuff and cause kind of a lot, like sometimes go too far, cause a lot of problems, or kind of a gigantic pain in the butt.
Yes. Yes.
But at the same time, it's an interesting pushback.
It is.
It's an interesting. It's an interesting. I think. I almost want to say evolutionary response, right? Like there's.
You always have a dissenter, right? You always have somebody who goes, no.
Yeah.
Right. You
And
have to have
I
that.
kind of think it's important. As
It
much
is.
as it can go too far and be really problematic sometimes, I kind of feel like it's important to have
think you're right.
that pushback.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. If everybody falls in line, then nobody has their own opinion. It's just like, I just do what I'm told. If you have a dissenter, then it spreads a little bit, and it can be a healthy dissension, right? It's just, I question ideas. I ask the questions. You should probably have somebody who's a dissenter at your company who's like, I don't think that's a good idea, just because, it goes back to the theory of any creative projects by, like George Lucas. I know Star Wars again. Nobody.
I'm being triggered.
I know.
I'm being triggered, Jacob.
Nobody questioning his decisions anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you go to a place and nobody says, hey, I don't think that's going to be a good idea. If you get too big, then nobody has the courage, the cojones, to say, maybe not.
Right. Do you know what I just realized in this conversation that you just sparked into my head? Is that
What?
Star Wars is a perfect example of humanity.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here for this.
So your first example would be like the very I think maybe more right wing idea of like this is owned by George Lucas. George Lucas founded it, started it, understands what it is, knows what it's about, is going to do it,
Right.
and leave him alone. Let him do what he's going to do. It's the way it's always been. It's the way it should be.
Right.
Don't mess with it.
Don't
right?
touch it.
So George Lucas makes those 3 movies, and they're they're not as successful as the originals, which were more collaborative.
Right.
Not to say that we don't actually know how collaborative those were or how much he let
Yeah.
people in, but the assumption was that
He was
word
younger.
was-
Somebody probably said, no, you can't do that. You got to find a
and
workaround.
probably listen, probably look for more. And again, we maybe don't know exactly how collaborative the newer ones were, and if just everybody had the same ideas, and it was just a room full of people who did agreed with something that didn't quite work.
Right.
Which is also a possibility. So I don't want to say that we know for sure,
We don't know for sure.
but let's make the assumption that that's what it was.
we assume on this show.
So then we love to assume on this show. We assume on this show.
It makes an ass out of you and me and him and all
should
of
write
us.
that down. We assume on this show.
We assume on the show?
That's a
Okay.
possible.
We assume on the show.
That's a
right there.
possible tag. We can
Okay.
we can vote for it later.
Put we assume on the show, question mark, circle it.
Yes.
And then we'll see.
Okay. So then Disney buys it.
Okay.
All right. And then you get the classic pendulum swing
Oh my gosh.
where it goes so far to the other side
Right.
that not only does everybody have input, but anything goes.
Yeah.
So you have the first movie, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a disaster in terms of how it fits with the rest of it, right?
Sure.
And then the second movie, which not only doesn't fit with it, but also doesn't fit with what they already created.
Right.
And then a third movie, which not only fits with what was originally created in the first movie by the person who's making the third movie or the second movie, but nothing at all with
Right.
the rest of it.
Right.
Because there's so much like, well, we can't do it like Lucas did it. We have to be free. We have to be different. We have to be open. We have to do whatever we have to do. And so then it swings so far the other way that you again get 3 movies. All 6 of these movies, by the way, were financially successful.
Yes.
I don't think any of these 6 movies was a successful Star Wars movie. It took until Mandalorian to get
really nail it.
a successful Star Wars.
Yeah. Something that stayed true to the universe.
Basically,
in the right way.
I think that if you look at films, well, I really liked Rogue One.
Yeah.
And I really like Solo too.
Yeah,
So
I like Solo, too.
maybe not totally, but
Hey, we assume on this show.
we assume on this. So maybe I'm not totally right on Mandalorian. I just love Mandalorian so much that I
I do
can't talk
too.
about it. I
It's
know
great.
this is not supposed to be a Star Wars thing. I'm just saying that this is how it goes with humanity.
Yeah.
Like you get so far where you're hacking where you potentially could have everybody hacking everything and it's just like a free for all.
Yeah.
Which would probably also be a disaster.
Yes. So you have to have this balance, right?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
I think in this case, this is where the balance worked. You have a hacker who looked at something that was really wanted by a community.
Yeah.
They're like, could we please, for
we
God's sake, we
please
just
have our
want to be able to
tractors
repair
back?
our tractors.
Yeah.
And this guy figured it out.
Yeah.
Or a girl. Actually, that could be a girl.
Sick codes, we don't know.
I made a bad assumption there.
Sick
It could be
codes
anybody.
could be anyone. But so this is an ongoing problem. And before I get to the continuation, what is my battery low? Huh?
No, I'm just looking at you guys.
You're just watching us on the screen. Just
Roddy has a look of concern on her face like, this show's not going well. This has gone off the rails.
yeah. Do we look rosy? Our cheeks are rosy? I don't know. She's watching it.
No, you guys look good.
Okay, good.
I want to sneeze, but I don't
Oh, I
In this
gotcha.
case, I'm going to give you a note that we never say. Turn away from the microphone.
Turn around, sneeze away from that microphone.
Before you
I'm
make the
trying
noise
not
in the
to.
place.
I'm trying not to.
Okay.
She's trying not. Doesn't want to sneeze inside the show and make the
microphone.
people go die because it's so really loud.
Turn around.
Please, when you sneeze in the direction that is not in the direction of the mic.
It's a great song. So, before I get to the second part that we're going to get into, the owners of smart or Internet Things devices, from smartphones to Internet-connected
Yes.
coffee makers, which I brought up
Coffee
earlier,
makers,
may have
refrigerators.
experienced similar frustrations to the
Yeah.
owners of John Deere tractors.
Yes.
To encourage customers to purchase their latest device, we obviously know that some tech firms effectively shut down older models by withdrawing the digital support services that keep them up and running. Sonos, the smart speaker company, was forced to backtrack in 2020 after criticism of its plans to phase out its older speakers in this way. So this is an ongoing problem where the manufacturer kind of decides when your device is done. But what we're going to get to is there's somebody here who says...
I have an
you have a
idea.
thought?
I have an idea.
Okay.
This is
I have an
I'm going to throw
idea.
this out for the audience, or I
Yeah.
guess maybe we could do it if we have to. Analogproducts.com.
Analogproducts.com.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, just go back.
Where somebody goes out, and they have a company called Analog,
Mm-hmm.
and they go out and they make old school washers, old school dryers, old school
That'd be
microwaves, old school
so-
coffee machines, old school refrigerators that work like they used to work in the Maytag days, where you build
literally
it,
buy it and it works for 50 years.
It doesn't break. It works for 50 years. It doesn't require an internet plug. It require all it needs is
Yeah.
electricity.
Yeah.
You give it electricity and it works.
I love it.
And it has but it's got brand new tech. It's up. It's like it's as good. It's up to date.
yeah.
It's just not quote unquote smart.
You would ruin the entire electronics industry with this one company,
Wouldn't that
right?
be
Because
fun?
It would be fun. Let's do it. Dissension,
I
baby.
kind of feel like that's a company. That's a good idea for a
It's a
company.
good idea for a company.
We should register that business.
Yeah. Analog. Don't worry, nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening. Nobody will know. Yeah, analog. Let's talk about this.
Don't steal our idea.
Let's talk about
Let's
this.
talk
Or
about
if somebody in the audience wants to do it, then tell us and maybe we help you out. Maybe we're in
Call
on
now. Call now.
it. I think
you're right. Call
I'm
now.
not kidding. I feel like
I
people
think you're
would
onto
want
something.
a refrigerator that lasts 50 years.
I'd like a car that would last 50 years. I got a spit take kettle. He tried to stop it, but can
That's
you imagine
brilliant.
a car? A
That's
car
just make
that's
a
like,
friggin'
it's not going to die. It's literally all analog. Like, there's no computer in this bad boy. You're building new cars, day and age.
new cars.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
internal combustion engine, like a classic,
Yeah.
like something you'd get in the 60s.
Yeah.
Except with modern design.
Modern design, things they've figured out.
And also an electric one that does not require you to be connected to the internet.
That'd be amazing, too.
Yeah.
Right? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
So, I thought you would think that this little piece of info was interesting, which is Samsung will now let Galaxy users repair their own devices. So, that's a company. So, Apple and Samsung over the years have been some of the brands that have been like, you can't touch our devices. We're not going to let you do that. But just a couple months ago, Samsung came forward and they basically are giving customers the ability to repair their own mobile devices amid the pressure from consumers and regulators. The company announced that a new program will allow users some of its flagship Galaxy devices to repair their own products, giving them and third-party fix-it companies access to genuine parts, repair tools, and visual step-by-step repair guides for the first time.
I mean, try to take the battery out of your iPhone.
You can't.
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
if your phone is just going bananas, shut down, you can't restart it.
Yeah.
The restart button's not working.
Yeah.
It's gone to hell. You have to break your phone to take the battery out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And so
That's
all these
stupid.
things. Yeah, it is stupid.
That
It
is just so they can never turn it off, by the way. That's
Yeah.
so that they can just tell you that it's off, but then keep listening to you so they can keep selling you crap.
Yeah, and when they decide that it's time for you to buy a new iPhone, they can make sure it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because
Like
why would you let people replace the battery?
Right.
That's a
And
terrible
just
thing to
continue
do.
on. Yeah. So, but this is
Or not
where-
have to update their software so that you've got more intensive friggin' high memory usage I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's important. We are, and a lot of us here use Apple products. A lot of them. So
I have Apple products, so I had to go half and half because of stupid Apple.
I know.
Because
Stupid
Apple effed my life.
They did. You hear that, Tim Cook? Look what you did to his life.
Effed it. Couldn't even go to the bathroom today, Tim Cook.
Couldn't even go to the bathroom. He was so stressed about it. But here comes. Oh, we got a microphone thing. Hold on one second.
We've got a microphone thing.
So here comes the counter.
Okay.
The devil's advocate part.
You got to have the devil's advocate.
Okay, and I want to know. I really want to know what your thoughts are on this.
All right.
New York's.
I'm already out.
Thank you for joining us.
If it's from New York, I'm
York.
Sorry. The New York City. Come on, straight. Get a rope.
New York City. Come on.
Get a rope.
New York City. That's from the.
You know what?
That's from the Pace Picani commercial.
Yeah.
Get a rope.
I just realized.
What?
That's awful.
It is terrible. But that was the kind of commercial you could run in the 80s and 90s.
That was like a regular joke. And I just listened to myself say it, and I was like, wait a minute.
The Pace Picani sauce was a brand, and they had this commercial where it's a bunch of cowboys eating a picante, and they're eating it, and he's like, and one of them goes, "This picante sauce comes from New York City," and everybody in the whole thing goes, and they freak out, and they go, "New York City," and then somebody says at the end of the ad, he goes, "Get a rope." Oh no!
I'm sorry. The thing was falling off. It wasn't tight. It had loosened over the years.
You're allowed to do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable. It's the mic.
I'm done. I'm not touching anymore.
Don't you touch that? Don't you touch it anymore.
New York City.
New York City. So New York's Digital Fair Repair Act doesn't defend property rights. It attacks them. This is the take. So basically, New York and there's a couple other states that put into. What have you done? I guess we got to really switch that mic soon. We learned today.
We got to go microphone shopping.
We got to go microphone shopping.
We're gonna shop for a microphone in the place where they sell the microphones to the people. Gonna put it back in. And
okay.
Is that better?
That's good. It's working.
All right.
So New York is one of the states among many that had put in some laws for this Right to Repair Act.
Yeah.
That's going through. And so the movement online, Right to Repair, it's been going on since 2013, and it sounds good. But this person says, okay, they open up and they say,
okay,
consumers shouldn't face legal penalties for fixing or altering personal electronic devices like smartphones for their own use. The Right to Repair movement, led by Repair Focused Trade Association, was organized in 2013 to defend this position. It sounds like a fair cause, but its advocates campaign for something entirely different. Despite talk of property, in actuality, the movement pushes for legislation that shows little respect for private property.
Okay, explain your position.
It's not mine. This
Mr.
is Alex R. Reinauer. Yes, Alex R. Reinauer. For the most part, consumers already have the right to repair their electronic devices, even if an unofficial repair job voids a warranty or limits access to corresponding digital platform. Accordingly, the U.S. Copyright Office grants exceptions to allow these activities. So he's saying there's a lot more room in there for you to repair your own device than they make it out to be. Legally.
Go ahead.
A New York law would upend that system that is already working. Lawmakers passed the nation's first electronic right to repair legislation. It does nothing to address the property rights of consumers. Instead, it forces electronic manufacturers to sell their private property to independent repair shops, including documentations, parts, and tools, inclusive of any updates to information or embedded software. Consumers have the right to do what they please with their own private property, but manufacturers don't. The legislation highlights this fundamental contradiction to the right to repair movement's core principles. It adopts a philosophy of property rights for me, but not for thee. The New York bill also brings security risks. If a device contains an electronic security lock or other security-related function, manufacturers are obligated to sell the parts, tools, and documentation needed to reset or disable it. These security features exist to protect users' devices and data by requiring manufacturers to distribute sensitive information regarding embedded software and security functions. I know I'm reading a lot, but like...
It's okay, go ahead.
Okay, security functions. The bill is inadvertently exposing consumers to greater cybersecurity risks. A sponsor of the bill wrote that many of us have stacks of iPads or laptops or desktops in our basement because they're not worth fixing because of the planned obsolescence. So this really breaks the monopoly. That's somebody who supports the bill.
Yep.
And he says, to the contrary, people keep old electronics for different reasons, like security or personal and sensitive information. Perversely, this is the type of data that the Digital Fair Repair Act puts at risk. The claim of breaking the monopoly is also wrong. Neither the smartphone nor electronic computer repair industries have a high market share concentration. The cell phone repair market is highly fragmented, with over 9,000 businesses in the U.S., while companies like Apple and Best Buy have the largest share of phone repairs. The market is dominated by smaller repair shops. Likewise, the electronic and computer repair industry, led by IBM, has low market concentration with over 47,000 businesses. A lot of this talk is a little bit blah, blah, blah for me. It's like one of those reads that I'm kind of like already, my eyes are crossing.
Well, if you want, is there any other good
yeah,
point?
any other two?
It's interesting.
Yeah. So do you have the feeling that maybe this person is working for Apple? Or like, do you think that they're wanting to protect the business?
I think, I don't know if he's working for Apple. I think that ideologically he's probably more of a libertarian. It's sort of maybe. I mean, it's funny. It's a funny position because in some ways it's libertarian because it's saying let this company do what it wants to do. It is its product. It can handle its product however it wants to.
Yeah.
It can release its product however it wishes. It has the rights to control its product. It should be able to do whatever it wants. That's a libertarian point of view. But then again, so is the idea that a person should be able to do what they want with their device.
Yeah.
I think because they're saying that people can do whatever they want with their device, that they are kind of I would guess this is more of a libertarian probably than a person who works for Apple. I think that Apple probably loves that they wrote it.
Right.
I think that Apple's probably happy with the point of view.
Pretty happy with it.
My feeling on this is that it's not entirely a good argument for me.
Okay. I like to hear that.
Because I don't necessarily agree that the moment if you've made a product and you're selling that product to somebody, then the concept is that person has purchased your product and now they own that product. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that this kind of teeters along the line of you don't own the product, we own the product, you're using it. You like the whole thing with software agreements, with like you don't ever own the software that you're using on your computer, you're leasing it. From the software manufacturer. That's how they keep you buying new software, and that's how they can keep you basically under control and having to update it and do whatever they want.
Right.
Which I've never thought was very fair. I thought I never liked those terms. What can you do? You have to, if everybody's terms are that, then you got to agree to it. Unless there's some cool company that comes along and says we've made it. And by the way, there are like open source versions of most software that you can go in and you can play with, which are kind of fun.
Yeah.
But they aren't supported by most of the popular
it's true.
manufacturers, which is done on purpose because that's how everybody makes money. That is what they're talking about when they say monopoly.
Right.
There's a technology monopoly in Northern California that runs everything, period.
Sure.
And it's not, you could call it a duopoly or a triopoly because there's more than one company that does it, but they work together. And you can see them doing it all the time in social media. You can see them doing it. I mean, if all you can choose from is an Android or an Apple, and like those are your two phone software programming, if both of them say, we don't want you to use software C, you won't. Software C is only going to be on the phones of those people who are willing to jailbreak their phone and put it in there, or who are willing to run some kind of off-brand open source operating system on their phone. Which, if you're clever enough, you could figure out how to do because legally you're allowed to, like they say in the article. Great.
Yeah. That
doesn't help the average person. The average person who just wants to be able to fix a thing or make the thing work longer, or doesn't want to have a stack of iPads, which is I completely disagree with that argument. I think that, maybe people keep it for security, but no, people keep their iPads stacked up because they're like, well, should I throw it away? Should I get rid of it? Might I need it one day? Is it kind of cool to have this thing and look at it? Eventually, those do get thrown away. They might not get thrown away for 20 years, but they do get disposed of.
Yeah.
That's not the point. Yeah. The point is you had to buy 6 iPads in a decade.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like that is so terrible for the environment. That is so wasteful for the planet.
Yeah.
That is such a dumb way to go about it. And it comes back to the analog idea. You should not have to replace your washer every 5 years.
Yeah.
If they could make a washer work for 30 years in the 50s, well, why the hell can't we have a washer that works that long now?
Yeah.
And the answer is just because it's a financial thing. Because if you can keep people buying new crap, then you can keep making money and you can keep your stockholders happy, and There you go. Now
Right.
now I'm on a progressive tear.
Well, but I mean, this is the trap, and this is why I chose this subject today, is because when I read this thing about the tractors, and this is only going to be an ongoing problem more and more because everything is digitized, everything is smart, everything is paired, and this is where we're headed. And the more that they convince us that you need to have the latest and greatest piece of technology, we're going to fall into the trap of, I've got to get the one that moves faster. This one's moving too slow right now. And it's just, so I like this Right to Repair Act. I like the idea that we could get to a place where we have way more control of our electronics and do something about it. And so this guy's argument about, it breaks cyber security threats because they're giving out all the ways that you can, hack into the device or you can break through its security. I just think that, that's kind of inevitable no matter what, because we have people breaking into devices. We have a hacker convention, for Pete's sake.
I think more people being aware of what the risks are, more people being aware of how the code works, more people being aware of what's wrong and therefore how to repair it means that you can fight back against the hackers better.
Yeah.
Because the hackers are smart.
Yeah.
They understand how this works.
Yeah.
They're not frankly, in a lot of cases, they can be smarter than the people who built the thing in the first place. Mm-hmm. Not always, but
sometimes
it definitely happens.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that either because I think in the long run, okay. Now I'm going to get into a crazy argument, but it's the whole gun thing, right?
No.
If the bad guys have guns, then shouldn't the good guys have guns too? Now that's extreme, and I understand that. I know not everybody's going to agree with that concept.
Yeah.
But it's kind of similar in the way you could think about it, which is if a hacker can break into it and can do whatever they want to your phone, shouldn't you also be able to get into your phone and do whatever you want to your phone?
Yes. I agree.
Shouldn't the repair person at the shop understand how the software works so that they can do that?
Yeah.
You can probably rewrite, and no one ever wants to write new legislation, but you could probably write the legislation in such a way so that even though they're giving, maybe it already is, by the way, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like this guy has beef with it the way it's written, but it might be written in a way that makes sense.
But if you give people, or you give repair shops the data so they understand how to work with the technology, but you also give the manufacturer the right to sue or go after somebody who uses that for their own for reasons that are outside of repairing
nefarious
devices.
purposes.
Well, then they're not likely to do that. They're just going to do what is wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that should fix it. That still makes it it still makes it Apple's property. That still makes it still belongs to Apple. They're just telling you how to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. Right. I think that's a good thing. So, but we have children growing up now with devices in their hands and tech in their hands. So more than likely, generationally, people are going to grow up and have a lot better understanding about how all these things work, because we still have a generation that's, our parents, grandparents that are, and even us sometimes, that are being given these new, computerized, these Internet of Things devices. And you kind of go, I don't understand how this, just going back to full circle to Bill Burr wanting to brew a cup of coffee and he doesn't want to pair it to his phone. There's a lot of us that just like the way things used to be and we don't want to go down that road. So it's going to be interesting to see how this shapes up over the next 20, 30 years, or if a solar flare is going to come and all electronics are going to be gone, and that's that anyway.
Well, yeah, right. Well, look, and that's what's funny about that is that comes back to how people are raising their kids, and not everybody is.
Not everybody has.
The progressive is just because it's flying out of me today. I've got the libertarian and the progressive are fighting each other here right now in my own brain.
Yeah.
But the idea that if you distract parents too much with everybody, they both have to have a job, they both have to fight to make a minimum wage, then it's difficult for them to raise their children. It's difficult for them to give their children the advantage they would need to survive in a world that works like this.
Yeah, it's true.
Because the answer to this is to me the same answer as everything, which is good parenting handles the problem. And the example I would give is I'm going to, I guess, toot our horn here a little bit.
Yeah.
We've focused a lot, both you and Jamie and also Tali and I, on look, kids, you should know how this stuff works.
Yeah.
You should dig into the hood. You should build your own computer.
Yeah.
You should know how to fix your own computer. You should understand how the software works. You should be programming. My kids both know how to program. Yeah. Ewan knows how to program. Yeah. Like they know how to do it. They know how not just to get under the hood to fix the hardware, but they are learning and getting pretty good at fixing the software.
Yeah.
And I think that the kids who are taught that or who find their way into learning that will probably grow up and be perfectly fine having a smart house with everything that works the way they want to work, because they're going
to know how to do it.
If something goes wrong, they'll hack it.
Yeah, that's true.
And that I think is, in the end, I think that's the future. I think that what the future is going to be is that kids, adults, everybody is going to just kind of know
how to get into the system,
how to crack it open, kind of the way in the 50s and 60s everybody knew how to repair their own car.
Yeah.
Like it's the reason that people can't repair it is because it's difficult to do, and yet here you have an example of somebody who did it. Somebody who he was able to jailbreak the tractor.
Yeah.
So it's doable. It can be done.
That is a really interesting concept if you think about it. This is the most this is kind of blowing my mind, is that there was a time when the car came out, the toaster came out, the blender came out, and they were new machines.
And nobody knew how to do anything with them.
Nobody knew how to fix them. Yep. But you know what happened? They eventually figured out how to fix them. They opened them up because the engineering, the human curiosity is like, I have to know how this thing works. Mm-hmm. And so there's only a matter of time before the human race
gets curious enough.
And that is the true point, which is eventually all these programmers and smart machines and things that are going, don't worry, we'll take away the ease. We'll make everything easy. You don't even have to think about pouring a glass of water. We'll do it. Well, in 30 years, so many people have been like, I have to know how this thing works and how I can make it work even more efficiently and, do better. And that will always happen. People always dig into the system.
I think that in this example, I don't think that Jaden, Owen, Ewan, or Elliot. I don't know if Elliot is as into it as Ewan is, but I assume he probably will be because his brother does it, right?
Yeah, probably.
Elliot's a little younger. That's why.
He's 7.
I don't think that. I think they'll probably have smart everything.
Yeah,
I think they'll probably have the fancy glasses that make you see the whole. I think they'll probably have all that stuff, and I don't think it'll worry them in the slightest. And it's not because they don't fear somebody taking their crap over, or they don't fear somebody trying to hack into their lives. Mm-hmm. I think it's because they'll understand them and they'll understand how to make them work.
Yeah,
so they're just not going to be worried about it, because if something's wrong, they'll know how to fix it.
I think that's right. So really, we're just experiencing this right now because we're in a generational transition from analog to digital. But pretty soon, all the analogs will have shoveled off this mortal coil and be gone, and it'll just be a bunch of digitals, unless we create analog machines.
Which would be kind of fun.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
You know what? That would be fun. I was thinking just the other day, I was like, this car thing that's happening in California where it's like banning the sale of cars by 2035. I was like, it's going to be interesting to think what gas and, gas-powered cars are going to be in terms of collectibles or sought after. Are people going to be like, oh, man, I kept mine in my garage. I couldn't get rid of it. And, I can still drive it if I need or whatever. But it's just going to be interesting to see how that changes over.
I think it'll be like anything else. So, like you look at baseball cards, right?
Okay.
So baseball cards from the 1950s, not every player from the 1950s, not every card is worth something.
Right.
A lot of them are just pieces of cardboard that are now lost or gone or thrown away into history, right?
Yeah.
Even though at the time, probably a lot of those players were favorites of kids, and kids kept those cards at the time. Because at the time, it's like, ooh, that's neat. But now, the cards that survive are Willie Mays, and Mickey Mantle, and Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
Like the best baseball, like the ones that really kind of transcended are kept. Because there's something about them, because there's something special about them, right? I think whichever cars kind of meet that criteria, and I think there's going to be a handful of them throughout all of time, throughout all of history, where someone looks in and goes, that car had this,
Yeah.
This was the first time they did this.
Yeah.
This car had this, and those cars will survive. You'll see those things in classic car shows.
And people will say, I drive one of these because I love it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
It'll be Jay Leno.
Yeah.
Right?
It's still alive.
Yeah, it'll be Jay Leno in his robot body zipping around in a car.
Probably. He's got enough money to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so I really loved this subject today. I really did, because it brought up a lot of really interesting issues and got me thinking about the future. So it turned out to be pretty cool. I'm stoked on it. So any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Good job. You did a great job.
I did a good job.
Those are really good shows. This was not funny in the slightest.
No, it was. We started out with the dump story.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about poop. Poop was always a good
Poop's a good intro. We had a lot
intro.
of funny things in the beginning. We talked about doom on the tractor, but then we got into
It was just a good conversation.
It was a good conversation.
About
And here's what
world.
my new goal is.
Yeah.
I've been doing this show for years now with Noel.
Mm-hmm.
I used to know, okay, I'm going to bring in a topic. Now I bring in the topic and I bring in the counter. I have to. I try to find, like, if somebody's like, hey, we've made erasers out of, a jellyfish. It's like, and they're jellyfish. I don't know. What I'm saying is, if I find this article and it's like, oh, isn't this one thing? I want to make sure that I find somebody who's like, that's not a good thing. I want to find, like, both arguments, both sides, so we can talk about it from each side.
Jacob.
I'm learning.
Jacob, that's fantastic.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic because that's the problem with the world right now.
Right. Because in the early days of the podcast, I would read an environmental article and I would be like, woohoo! But then I would eventually, as years went on,
usually I would dump on it.
Then you dump on it, just like you did at the beginning of the show.
And I actually don't always want to. I don't always want to dump on it, but I do. I have that feeling.
You have that. He has that urge in him to go. Is it though? Is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think you do need a devil's advocate
You have
for
to.
some
You have
for
to.
some things. And sometimes I convince myself the devil's advocate argument's right, even if it's not.
No, I'd say. Here's the thing: if we were both animals right now, I am a Labrador and you're a cat. It's just you are going to go.
I just want to complain.
No. You go. I mean, pet me by all means, but on my terms. You know what I mean? I'll let you know when I need you, and I'm just literally like, stuff. Hey, ooh, frisbee. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's our difference, but that's why you have a podcast at two people.
That's
right?
it. That's how you do it. But I love you bringing both arguments. I think that's what we need more of that. We need more of that in the world. We need more of it. We need to allow people to hear more points of view. Yeah. And I actually like that we discuss the points of view and find the common ground, or we try to find where does the truth lie? Because I've never believed that I've never believed that the popular articles that you find are without some influence.
Yeah.
Right?
It's hard not to believe that every article published has somebody behind it going, this would be really good for us.
Yeah. So a narrative is pushed, right? Like a very, and it can be a logical narrative. I think that aspects of the narrative could even be true. Yeah. In fact, the narrative could be entirely true, but that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody behind it. And so I think it's good to hear what the dissenting opinion has to say, even if the dissenting opinion is kind of nonsense. Yeah. Because then you can at least understand that, take that into your consideration of what you think the right answer might be, and then find the truth. Right. Because that's all that matters. I don't care if something is cool or popular or works or is happy or is fine. I just want to know, is it true? Right. Because if it's true, you can make decisions. You can actually work with it. But if it's not true, then everything you do is going to be wrong because you'll be working on a lie. Yeah.
Wow. Drop the mic.
I already broke it.
You already broke it. So that's it. That's the podcast this week. You guys, make sure you are telling your friends and you're commenting and you're reviewing our podcast and you're subscribing and telling everybody in your family and your friends and being like, this is a show that digs into environmental topics. I mean, this is a topic that is our environment because it's where we're headed. It's the future. And so we want to be a part of the conversation, and we want you to be part of the conversation. So make sure you're always tweeting at us. You're writing on our social medias. You can find us on Facebook. We have, Biofriendly Planet, but we also have the Painless Green, which is our Facebook group. We have our Twitter, which is @Biofriendly. Mm-hmm. We have our Instagram, which is @Biofriendly Planet. Mm-hmm. We have a TikTok, which is Biofriendly Planet. You can reach us everywhere. Shoot us some notes. We want to have the conversation with you guys. So
absolutely, get after us and share, folks. Let people know we exist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we have. Wait, before I start the tags, what was the new one? And let's review before we throw it in there. Let's decide right now.
We assume on this show.
Do you still like it? I kind of like it still.
That's funny.
Let's do it.
Let's try it out.
Let's try it out. Let's test it
Will
out.
it be the last one?
It'll be the
the
last
last
one.
one.
Usually
Okay.
tag it at the end. So
I'm gonna need help in the middle.
I know
I'm
you're gonna
try
have
my
to
best.
be ready.
But
Be
try my
ready.
best.
Okay. We are your beacon of light in a gloomy environment.
Jacob's brain is constantly rebuilding itself.
Oh, I know this one. Oh, don't be environmentally gimmicky.
This guy's got bubbles.
And featuring Todd Watersocks. This is Take the W. This is
Take the W and let it go.
take.
Take the W and get back to it.
We can kill that one if you're not
No,
feeling
it's a
it. Yeah.
freaking great one. It's just
Good.
hard to
It is-
remember.
It is hard. I feel like each year it gets harder to add more tags because I
Yeah.
feel like our brain has years of tags.
Years
in
of
there.
tags stuck in there.
Anyway,
take the W and get back to
Yeah,
it.
back to it. And then this is the new one.
Yes.
Okay, the new one, which is
Which is
I know it. It was
we
just now that
we assume on
we
this show.
assume on this show.
You wouldn't be able to
It was
understand me.
it was already out of my brain. Okay, we assume on this show. Veronica, do you have anything else to say before we get out of here?
I have a lovely time.
It's the Biofriendly Podcast. It's the Biofriendly Podcast.